Hello, friends. Welcome back to Show Your Real Estate Today. Paul Jameson here, your host, celebrating Nasal Voice Day on the radio. So glad that you're with us today. But we're going to talk about real estate in a very nasally way. But I mean, here with Sandy Dickinson with CrossCountry Mortgage, who won't be talking that way. So glad you're with us, Sandy, and glad you're with us to talk about what's going on in the mortgage industry today and lender splendor as we peel back the onion and look around and see what's going on this year and next year. I love what we have to talk about. The credit and your credit file. That is a great subject. And everyone talks about their credit and the protection of their credit. It's important these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know people that have had their credit manipulated and used, and the information on that. And it's an important fact to protect your credit, but even more important, uh, it's something that you should be looking at all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, thanks for that big long answer there. So, yeah,
Well, I could talk about credit for a while if you're ready for me to.
all right, do it.
Okay, so many things. Number one, when we pull your credit, there's a few things to be aware of. We can do a soft pull that will not hit your credit hard, but then we can't really run your loan through an automated underwriting system. So if you're serious or if you're recently under contract, we have to do a hard pull. The soft pull will let us, just like the hard pull, do a scenario on how to bring up your score. People think if they look on Credit Karma or annualcreditreport.com that their scores are going to be the same in the mortgage world, and they're just not, because we use different algorithms. We put emphasis on different things, like housing payment for one. And I can't say everything else, they keep a lot of it a secret. But when we pull, the credit bureaus, unbeknownst to us, or us, guess we do know it at some point, sell your information to mortgage people and to others. So all of a sudden, I pull your credit, and now you're getting a ton of phone calls and emails and letters about financing, and now you're bombarded, and people are getting confused on which way to go, and oh, this person's offering me the world, and I would just caution anyone to be careful about these lenders. These are lenders that sit in a telephone call center, and they can't make it. Well, it's not nice to say, but the mortgage lenders that go out on the street and make relationships and do a lot of purchase and refinance business, it's a lot of work. And so it's easy to sit in a call center and just call and then pass the paper along to a processor or an underwriter. You want somebody that knows what they're doing. So, and you want to make sure that that rate and those costs are correct. So I would just be hesitant to entertain any of these calls that are triggered by a credit report that you pulled through a preferred mortgage lender that you want to work with. We can try to mitigate that by removing your phone number and your email before we pull it. Doesn't always work. So that's one major thing, that and the credit score.
Yeah.
Another thing is that, on the credit report, we were told that medical collections under $500 aren't affecting your score. I'm not finding that always true. I had one recently where I did a scenario, and he had three little medical collections, and removing those boosted his score quite a bit. So they are, in some cases, affecting the credit report scores. So if you know about them, take care of them. Either negotiate them off or pay them, or find out what's going on with them and have your insurance company take care of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The you and I went through that on one of my loans, but it ended up being a medical collection that was on one of my sons, who is my junior, right? So it affected my score like 92 points. You can't
Yeah,
put a
it's
40-year-old kid
huge.
in timeout, but I sure wanted to, you know.
And he probably never knew. Like, I had one on mine and I had no idea. until I go to get a mortgage or some type of credit. And then I call, of course, I'm a maniac. I'm calling these people constantly, and finally realized they were sending notices to a complete incorrect address. And because of that, they did remove it. But most of the time, they don't notify you per the laws of credit reporting.
Yeah. So what happens if you find a problem? You told me once the first thing to do is not to put a dispute out there.
Do not put disputes on your credit report if you're planning on getting a mortgage, because number one, they're only supposed to stay on there 30 days and then it's supposed to be resolved either way. But what I find is they just stay on there. And if there's a dispute, it removes that trade line out of the credit reporting. So it may help your credit score, but we're going to make you remove the dispute. And that sometimes is quite a process, because sometimes people go in to remove the dispute and they dispute the dispute and then it becomes out as a dispute. So it's you have to say, please remove the dispute language. Best not to dispute anything to begin with. Just call, talk to them, say, look, I wasn't notified. If it's a correct collection, say, I will pay it. Just remove it off my credit report. Just guarantee me you'll do that. Most medical will do that. Some of them do it automatically now. Some of them will give you a hard time, and you may have to go up the ladder or call back a few times to get the right person to do it for you.
Right. But like, let's say I dispute something, or let's say I do that and call and go through that. Does it happen in 24 hours? Is it like
It can happen
instantaneous?
super, super fast, but I always say get a letter, have them fax you over a letter saying that they have removed the dispute, and then we can handle it from there. May take us a couple of days, but we have a little more ins and outs to help you guys with that.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So credit bureaus though are always right, right? So they
No, no, no,
absolutely
no,
all
no.
the time. Well, wait a minute.
No, that's a no. They get, I mean, they get their information. They're a conduit, but um, you know, a lot of times they do not have correct information. And
Like,
sometimes things are labeled wrong.
yeah, I mean, a lot of time, just like what would happen with my son. I mean, there can be the wrong identity, right? There can be the wrong Paul Jameson. There can be uh, I mean, a whole lot of
That's right. And
things can be.
sometimes lenders report things as, oh, I started in foreclosure, and you're like, that never happened. Or if you ever filed bankruptcy, they just quit reporting altogether. And then there's nothing on there that we can work with. And then we have to get it directly through the creditor. So, and
Oh,
also when you're ready to get a mortgage, unfreeze your credit report. We often try to pull and there's nothing there because the credit reports are frozen, and sometimes they're not as easy to unfreeze as you think they are. And there's three bureaus, so you have to make sure all three are unfrozen. And I wouldn't refreeze them again right away. I would wait till after you're done, because we keep checking for new inquiries and stuff until you close. So
right.
it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, you have said, and I give the lecture to buyers, don't go out and, you know, apply for a new credit card. Don't go out and charge up your credit card for stuff for the house. Don't go out and do 90 days same as cash. Don't go out and do 6 months or a year same as cash. Don't, without talking to your lender, do not sign up for any types of things that are like that especially are going to show up on your credit report, right?
That's right, because it can do a few things. It can affect your whole qualification, especially now. The affordability has gotten a little bit tougher than before, and if you're on the cusp of a debt ratio, that could make a difference. Even a small credit card, a 90-day same as cash on a refrigerator or stove or whatever you're buying. It can make a huge difference. Just leave it alone until you're clear to close and that the closing docs are out.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. So after the break, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about there's tons of information about your industry out there right now, about loans, about the process in general, around rates and points and, fees and what you
Yeah.
see on the internet versus what you don't see. You got to help us put that into perspective, because I'm still getting these emails that say I can get a 4% loan for 30 years.
Okay, I will help you with that.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more of the Show Your Real Estate today here on News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. We're working on Lender Splendor. More of that when we come back.